Alright, welcome back to DajibanLife. So today, it's been getting hot lately, so I decided, as you can kind of see here, I got some parts to build my own swamp cooler. I looked on the market for some that are portable, and they were like way too expensive. They were like 200 bucks at least, and also they were a lot smaller or too big. They're either too small or too big. It's either like one that's made for a personal one just to use at your desk, which wouldn't cool like a larger area, or they're built to cool like a room, you know, like 100 square feet or more, like 200 square feet, something like that. And so there was nothing in between, and what I need is something that can cool about, yeah, like 60 to 80 square feet, which is the interior dimensions of the van. So yeah, and also the ones that were pre-made needed an outside venting source and all that. Yeah, so I just figured maybe making my own. I looked on YouTube, and there's a guy who made a swamp cooler out of a bucket and some materials here. Like this is Duracool here, this blue stuff, and some aluminum screening. I got some vinyl tubing here that fits the water pump that I bought, cheap water pump. Got some switches, got the 12 volt adapter for power, and I bought this Noctua 140 millimeter fan. It's like their fastest one that spins the fastest, and it moves around 250 CFM, I think. So that'll be pretty powerful. I think that'll be pretty good, because the ones on the market, they either move like 100 CFM or like 500. You know what I mean? There's like nothing in between. So this should do it for the square footage that I calculated. And here's just a dog food container, but it's airtight, and the lid is square. You see there's some insulation happening here to prevent leakage, and the top is flat, so the fan should fit on top. I'm not sure whether I want to mount it on the inside or the outside, but I'm going to cut a hole in the top here and then mount this fan. I'll probably mount it on the inside just so it's a little bit cleaner. Only thing is, I'm gonna have to watch out for water. You know, like I have to figure out how much of the Duracool I need to put in here so that the water's not splashing up onto the electronic components. I'm gonna try to waterproof it as much as I can. I do have some silicone that I can maybe use to, you know, just block water from going places where I don't want it. But yeah, so I'm gonna have to figure out. I'm gonna obviously have to drill holes in the side of this thing. But yeah, I'm gonna figure out like how that's gonna work and how much water is actually gonna fill up in here, because the holes on the side, you know, the water can escape that way, especially in a moving van. I don't want it sloshing around and spilling all over the place. So yeah, I'm gonna figure that out, especially considering the amount of air that this fan moves. I don't know how many holes I need to get it to work, but I think what I'm gonna do is wire everything up first and make sure the electrical works right, and then I'm going to maybe cut the hole in this guy, mount the fan, and then drill some breather holes, and then just test it out to see if the number of holes are enough for the fan to move the air without struggling too much. I don't want it overheating and, you know, dying and stuff on me, because these are pretty expensive. I think this was like 40 bucks for this one fan. So it's made for like an industrial application, I guess, industrial PCs or something. But they're pretty quiet and they spin real nice. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm gonna be doing. Once I get stuff wired up electrically, I think I'll stop there and maybe update you guys on how it's going. Alright, so I have it all wired up here. I got it wired to the switch that goes to a 12 volt in. Here's the fan switch. And the fan is controlled to a Noctua controller, so I can adjust how fast this fan spins if it's too much, which I'm guessing it won't be. But I got the dog food tin, got some water in there, pumped in there, going for the test run. So let's plug this in and see if it works. Alright, that's good. So here's the moment of truth. Gonna flip the switch and see if this stuff runs. Yeah, there you go. Fan spinning. water pump's going. So now all I need to do is mount this stuff, right? And then run some tubing and the Duracool and drill some holes. And hopefully it'll cool the air. So yeah, but we'll see. Alright, so here's the finished product. Testing it right now. It was sort of leaking just because I think the tube wasn't properly placed, so I just sort of moved it. I added a little bit of dish soap here to break the water tension, so maybe it would soak up into the Duracool, the material, a little bit better. It's pretty crude. It's not the best, but the air is definitely cooler coming out of this guy. I have it on a little adjustable knob here, and yeah, I mean, definitely the air is definitely a lot cooler coming out of here than it is when it's just blowing by itself. Yeah, for sure. Maybe like only 5 degrees cooler, maybe a little bit more than that, but you know, that's better than nothing. So basically what it is you have a water pump down there in the bottom with some vinyl tubing, and I just cut some holes in the tubing so that you can see it's dripping. It's dripping onto the Duracool material here, and that should keep it moist, right? Like it's keeping it wet. And then there's holes drilled into the side of this thing, right? And then hopefully what ends up happening is that the fan draws, because the fan is, you know, blowing out this way. So hopefully what's happening is that the fan is drawing air in through these little portholes that I've made, right, through the wet material, right, and then evaporative, you know, cooling the air evaporatively, and it blows it out into the van. And yeah, with this thing on, it's noticeably cooler. I don't know if that's just like a psychological thing or if that's actually happening. But either way, it's good. The thing I did do was that I made the switch, I put all the wires on the outside. So I did initially drill a hole here to put the switch, right? That's why I have it covered with a sticker now. But having all this electrical like wires and stuff on the inside seemed kind of dumb in case this thing fell over and spilled. I mean, it's probably not going to be good anyway if that happens, but just having this stuff on the outside would probably be better. So it's a little bit rough, right? It's just kind of wires, loose wires just hanging out. So I need to clean this up a little bit. I'll probably get something like a little box or something to mount the switch and stuff in. The fan controls outside too. So if I were to do this again, I would probably mount the fan on the outside of the container, right? And then so that all the wires are on the outside, because right now like the fan wire goes on the inside and it does get wet. So I know it's like shielded and, you know, it's inside of a like a sleeve or whatever, the wire, but still, you know, that's an unnecessary risk, you know, in case something happens, because if it shorts out, then, you know, it's pretty much done for. So I would probably mount the fan on the outside of the container, and then maybe run like a, because right now it's just sucking air and it's not like an airtight seal, right? Like the air isn't really forced through the material, kind of, but not really. So I would maybe add like a, oops, I would add like a tube, some sort of you know, like a snorkel kind of thing that goes down in there. So it's pulling air more towards the bottom of the container, so it's actually forcing air to come in that way. So I'd probably do that instead of, maybe air could be leaking. Sorry, it's hard to hold the camera and like point things out. They could be leaking through the corners and stuff, you know, there's some gaps here. So it might not be going through the material and just sort of traveling that way. So trying to force the air through the material seems like it would work better. So, you know, this is like the first time I've built one of these things, and you know, apparently it sort of works. I don't have one of those like point and shoot thermometers, so I couldn't really, you know, tell you for sure if this thing's working or not. But right now I'm parked in the sun, and it's definitely a lot cooler in here with this thing on rather than off. So, you know, neat little project. This is a good size. I can put about a gallon of water in here. I'm also gonna add like frozen water bottles to cool down the water even more inside, and that should make it even cooler. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, it's a little personal swamp cooler. It's a decent size. The air moving through this thing is pretty good. So I'd call that a success. Obviously, I might look for another container that's similar to this, but has a flat top, because this one is sort of it's sort of like concave, and flat would probably be better. I saw some boxes at Home Depot or Lowe's or whatever, and they had some like plastic containers that had flat tops. So I might opt for one of those and remake this so that, you know, it would be better just to kind of try to force the air through the material some more, and just for space purposes and stuff. But yeah, all in all, this thing's working. I'm happy with it. So anyway, thanks for watching, and hopefully this will get me through the summer months when it gets really hot. It's supposed to get into the 90s now, like mid 90s. So hopefully this thing will keep me cool in here, and you know, we'll see. You know, no way to know until I test it out. I really don't want to like rent rooms and stuff if I don't have to, like Airbnb and stuff, because it's too hot. You know what I mean? As long as I can sleep, like, I'll be happy. Hopefully this quarantine stuff will end, so that, you know, so that I have a shower and like a gym to go to, stay in air conditioning as much as I can, and only have to sleep in the van. Right now, because nothing's open, I'm having to spend more time in the van, and yeah, that's not good. That's not necessarily a good thing. Well, thanks for watching, and see you next time.